The Lokar Car Show takes you to the birthplace of country music car show in Bristol, Tennessee. Music and motors come together this week in a unique episode on a city that straddles two different states, Virginia and Tennessee. Our first car is a beauty and owned by one.
We've had this one about 7 or 8 years now.
This is a 1966 Mustang. The Mustang was originally the concept of Lee Iacocca and was introduced in 1964. She's done some work on this one.
Did a restoration on it, engine, interior, exterior, everything.
This Mustang is a little unusual. It has a 6-cylinder. Most of them had 289 cubic inch V8 engines. That 6-cylinder engine has been perfectly restored, as has the interior. So that leaves one to wonder, did she do it herself?
I supervised. I say we loosely. Because, I didn't actually do the hands-on part. I did help. She goes fast, and because it's light, it's got a straight 6, 200 motor in it, and we kept everything original. We didn't, it's got disc brakes, no power steering, kept everything the same as it would have been right off the factory floors.
So without improving it, does she like it the way it is?
No, I love it. I love it.
A beautiful recreation of a beautiful car. As a matter of fact, it's a convertible. Even with that 6-cylinder, it's worth more money when the top goes down. Looks like she's participated in some other car shows too, looking at the back seat, and she's been featured in some publications. A family team took this project on.
Was at a cruise in West Virginia one night, saw it and just had to have it.
But why a Nova?
Different. Well, it was different. Now it's kind of the trend. It was kind of a grandson, grandfather project. Just whatever we knew how to do, we did, and what we didn't, we got a buddy of ours. Wheels, custom interior, about Anderson interior, and paint. Really, it's all. It's got 2-inch drop spindles in the front. That's about it.
After Drew and his grandfather finished it, what did Grandpa think?
He loves it. Yeah, I don't think you want to let me have it. Really? Yeah.
And how long has the project been completed?
About a month or two ago.
How long did it take to finish that restoration?
About 2 years. What really took long was, I was bought a little bit of body work here and there and ordering parts.
How did they get that engine?
The engine's been done for a while. It came out of a buddy of ours' car. Okay. He sold the car. A guy bought the car, didn't want the motor, so he just basically gave it to us.
Why that color?
Everybody does red or white or black, and so it was just trying to find something different that kind of stuck out, but it was subtle. It's solid white, house paint, stock interiors, original blue, and had Maybelline in big letters on the back. Oh, well, we took it off, but we got a guy to pinstripe it on the glove box, kind of keep it. Yeah, it's the name.
And sitting next to the Nova, a 1965 Corvette Stingray convertible that Eddie Jones has wanted since childhood.
Well, back when I was delivering papers, I always wanted one. I saw them when they came out. My wife and I have had this one almost 40 years. Well, I redid the car in 80 and 81. Complete body.
Complete body?
Yeah, body, frame, interior, everything. Well, I just put it all back stock. Okay. And it's got the original motor, transmission, and it's automatic, air conditioned, power steering, power brakes. It's a loaded car. And that's one reason we like it so well. Plus it's a convertible. If it gets hot with the top down, just turn the air on.
Does the wife like that Corvette?
Yes, she enjoys it too, and she likes to drive it as much as I do. We've gone to the beach in it and things like that. We do drive it quite a bit. I couldn't see setting it and parking it.
So with the wife enjoying the car as much as he does, will he keep it forever?
Well, when I get too old to get in it and drive it and enjoy it, I'm gonna sell it. Part of my 401.
Coming up next, a local candy truck gets a makeover. The Lokar Car Show is being brought to you by Lokar Performance Products, quality, plain and simple. And by ARP, the world leader in fastener technology. And by Steel Rubber Products, quality crafted rubber parts and weather stripping. And by Flowmaster, the exhaust technology company. Welcome back to Bristol, Tennessee, where we're straddling the state line. Would you believe that was a candy truck?
This was a factory made just like this. I did customize different paint, different wheels, and it's setting lower. This was a Lance candy truck here in Bristol when it was new. It's got a little fancier trim now. It had cheaper trim, you know, like a 150 Chevrolet trim. We would have had regular car trim on it, just the cheaper trim.
And with the Bel Air front end, it looks like it's been customized.
I didn't actually customize it. I put Bel Air trim instead of Biscayne. They had a 150. This was a 150 when it was new. It didn't have a back seat. It just had a flat plywood surface in it. I put a back seat in it because when I started building it, I wasn't married, didn't have any kids, but then kids come along, so I put a back seat in it so I could haul my two kids. My kids, yeah, it was, they come along during the time from when I've had it, but anyway, I've had it since 1982, I think. It took me 10 years to build it. It's got a 1980 Corvette 350 and a 400 turbo transmission, 86 Monte Carlo SS rear end.
Did you upgrade the suspension in it?
It's got four-wheel disc brakes off of an 82 Corvette.
How did he find all those parts?
I had a friend had a junkyard in Abingdon, and I got a lot of parts out of it. He's passed away now. It had Widener Brothers Junkyard. I got a lot of parts there, and then I've sold car parts at car shows for 30 years, and I got stuff at all those car shows where I'd go to like Super Chevy at Indianapolis and the Turkey Rod Run Daytona, traded parts, and then somebody beside me would have something I needed, I'd trade them out of it.
Why this truck?
I was in high school, sitting in class, and it was sitting in the parking lot of the high school. This exact car. And a friend of mine had it in high school, and then I bought it from him. I graduated in 72, he graduated in probably 70, so I bought it in about 82 then, off of him. Something draws you to it, and you want it, and that's it.
This Challenger continues a family tradition.
My parents immigrated from Greece in the early 50s, and my father used to walk to work down State Street. And the first car dealership he passed was a Plymouth dealership. And he walked in, became friends, and the first Plymouth he ever bought was a 1957 Plymouth. I remember it as a young kid. It was an orange color. And then he bought a 61 Finn to Plymouth. So we've been Mopar fans all our lives, all my brothers and I. My father passed away in 2012, and he left me some money, and I saw this on eBay. And it caught my eye because it's so loaded. It's got power windows, AC, cruise, rim blow steering wheel, 6-way adjustable seat, delayed headlights. And when I didn't realize it had some of these options, like the people who were selling it didn't market it right because they thought that the horn was broke. And as soon as I got it, I realized it was a rim blow steering wheel car. except the engine, transmission are not original to the car. They are numbers matching to themselves, but they're not numbers matching to the car.
And tell me.
It's a 383 Magnum. Gets a lot of attention.
So how about this town called Bristol?
Bristol is a very unique place. You know, we're right on the state line of Virginia and Tennessee. Our downtown's split in half, State Street, half Tennessee, half Virginia. It's what makes us unique. You know what also makes Bristol unique is that we're the birthplace of country music. We have a museum that's going to commemorate that, that's now open. But what also makes Bristol special, that makes us known to the world, is the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's the world's fastest half-mile track. People also know us for our dragsters, our funny cars at Thunder Valley at the Bristol Dragway. It truly is a Thunder Valley as it goes down the track because it is right in the valley. But our motorsports and our music, they blend together to make this a unique place to come visit. So we're very special to have Bristol in both states, the music, the racing, and our heritage.
Coming up, an invite inside the Country Music Museum. We're back in Bristol, a place on the right side of the tracks. This Ford was a lucky trade.
It came out of Popular, North Carolina. A group called Push Rods had built a car in probably 2006, 2007. They'd owned it since. I had a friend in Irwin who traded for it a couple weeks ago, and when he got it, I traded a 30 Ford Model A for it. I like them any way I can get them. And when my buddy got it, I knew he was going to trade it quick, so I hit him up with an offer I didn't think he would take, and he did, so I got it. I've owned it a couple weeks, and I've had it pinstriped and done a little bit of work to it. So, people's going to kill me here, but I'm usually a Chevy man at heart now, so these Ford guys don't kill me. But when they come up with a Ford motor in it, I still took it anyway.
So it has a Ford engine, but the question is, which Ford engine?
It's got a 302 Ford in it out of a 71 model Mustang, C4 transmission, power steering, disc brakes, 8-inch Ford rear end. They've lowered it all down and dropped spindles and stuff. It's not on air ride or anything, but it's been dropped. And old cool Steelies, DF Goodrich, wide white radials. It's old school all the way.
What does the wife think of that color?
She's about to get tired. Everything I do or paint or get is green anymore. And she said we're going to have to start changing colors of our rides. And if I'd have done it myself, it would have still been green.
What's the best thing about this custom?
The tension it grabs, the chop top, of course. From other cars I see, I'm assuming about a 3-inch chop. I'm gonna try to hang on to it. I've owned so many cars in my life, and my wife had told me I've probably owned everything with wheels on it at least once, but I've only had 2 customs. I had a 50 Hudson, I think it's a 50, chop top, and then this one. So I've been into street rods most of my life, but try something different.
Now, a look at the history of country music.
The purpose behind the museum is to acknowledge and to discuss and showcase the 1927 Bristol sessions, which is when the recording producer Ralph Peer came to this area and recorded several artists who would then go on to become country music giants of the early and mid-century, including Jimmie Rodgers and the Carter family.
It's nice to have the Carter family at the start back in 1927. But the question is, how much of country music is featured and how many different artists?
So the museum features selections from all of the artists that were on those original 1927 recordings, which includes many people that are known and some unknown, people like Ernest Stoneman and Maybelle Carter, but also unknown, some gentleman named L. Watson, who is not very well known. The Alcoa Quartet, the Teneva Ramblers, a lot of people who don't get a lot of attention. But it doesn't just stop with the 27 sessions. It also kind of seeks to explore the impact of those sessions. So Ralph Pierre came back in 1928. There were recordings in Johnson City nearby a couple years later, but also in the continuation of bluegrass through Bill Monroe to country and Johnny Cash and people who are still performing today in this area.
So many people from today, like Dolly Parton, and people that were unknown are featured in this museum, including Johnny Cash. So did the famous Man in Black have an opinion about these recordings?
Johnny Cash referred to the 27 sessions as the single most important event in country music history. And a scholar named Nolan Porterfield was the one who coined the term the Big Bang of country music. Now, they weren't the first recording of country music. Things had been recorded in as early as 1922 and 23. The reason the Bristol sessions stand out is because they were the culmination of energy, talent, and reception that really started the industry and that we still know as country music.
Coming up, a famous gangster favored this car. The Lokar Car Show has been brought to you by Lokar Performance Products. Quality, plain and simple. And by Redline Lumtronics, home of the classic car halo headlight. And by Butch's Cool Stuff, your headquarters for 1930s through 1950s hot rod and custom car parts and accessories. And by Smith Keyless Remote, factory and aftermarket remotes. Welcome back to a very busy downtown Bristol, Tennessee, and the birthplace of country music car show. Charlie Campbell wasn't looking for a 1951 Chevy.
I wasn't really set on a 51 Chevy. I was looking for a 59 Pontiac, which I could not find that I could afford. And a friend knew I was looking for a 59, and he had a 51 Chevy, so he asked me if I'd be interested in that. I bought it. It had 26,000 actual miles on it, and I've put 11,000 on it since I've had it. I go locally. I go to car shows mainly, but I drive it daily almost. Anytime I need to go somewhere, I like to drive my Chevrolet. I just like the whole design of it. I think it's modern for a 51. I like the dash. And it's a Paraglide. Second year they made the Paraglide. It's a good driving little car.
And Charlie's towing something even rarer.
The history is they started in 1939. A German engineer developed the motor, and it was built in California. They later moved to Michigan. During the war years, men and women who worked in defense planes rode them to the planes because tires for their car and gasoline was hard to get, but they could ride these bikes. They'd get about 125 miles to the gallon.
Up next, another rare find brings some bragging rights. Where did Don Booth find this old Plymouth?
One of the gentlemen in the car club went to North Carolina and found it and brought it back. And then I ended up buying it from him. I've had it a couple of years now. As far as I know, it's the only four-door 32 four-door in the area. There's not another one within a 100-mile radius.
And what engine does it have now?
It's got a little small six-cylinder, four-speed transmission. And got all the stock front end, everything's original on the front end of it. It's got the 32 brakes.
And is he done restoring it?
The only thing, the black paint needs to be gone over again, but other than that, it's pretty well it. Okay. The interior and everything, it stays just like it is. This is a lot, like Bonnie and Clyde drove Fords, Al Capone always run Plymouth. Matter of fact, back last spring, I was watching the movie, and he had the exact same car and everything in his movie, in the last movie they had. Same color, everything. When I get out on, riding it around, everybody stops and looks, especially when you're running the interstate. Get up on the interstate, people just can't believe you got it on the interstate. She'll run 55, 60. Just have to take it easy with her.
This week's Lokar Lowdown, it's all about bezels and boots and bezels and all different kinds of colors and choices, as always, from Lokar.
Yes, and what we're trying to do, it's just another product that we offer to try and finish the installation. And when you start to look at our boot rings, we've had for a long time, we've had the polished stainless steel, we've had the billet where you can get it in a round or you can get it in a rectangular, midnight series or a brush finish. We even have them in stainless steel, and we've got them in the billet for handbrakes and all of our handbrake options as well. But one of the new products we've come out with to try and expand on the line and try and pay a little bit more attention to what's going on out there and what the guys are doing that are building cars now are our boot bezels. And they're really made a difference for us. It just ties it up just a little bit more and gives you another option to customize the car a little more. We offer a 5/8 O-ring piece if you're using like a standard Lokar shifter lever, and that'll just slide right down over the lever. It lets it move and breathe, but it doesn't let anything rattle in there. It's got an O-ring in there to keep it going. And we also offer them, and the late model cars, especially the cars that are running like the 5 and 6 speeds and the big consoles in them, a lot of the muscle cars are now, you want the boot to pull right up to the knobs.
Yeah, like the more modern.
Exactly, like a new car would have. And this comes, we've got them offered out in 3/8 16 or 3/8 24, so it goes right on the top of the shifter lever, pulls the boot right up to you, and you're in good shape.
And that's what we want to remember. These are the bezels, these are the boot rings, and when we talk about the boot rings, hey, we also want to mention the ones that Lokar offers with the LED shift indicator in there as well. I mean, lots of different choices. That's what it's all about, making your ride your own with parts made in the USA from Lokar at lokar.com.
That's it from Bristol, Tennessee. Next time, we stick around East Tennessee with a trip down to Elizabethton.